Hello, everybody, and welcome to another My Music. It's me, Graham, and today I'm going to be speaking to the wonderful Lorna. How are you? Where are you coming from?
Hello, I am from the Midlands, so coming from sunny-ish Leicestershire.
Leicestershire.
Yes.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Anything particular happening in your neck of the woods today?
There's a Leicester Music Conference that's happening in the city centre,
Oh,
um, with lots of guest speakers and things like that happening. Unfortunately, I'm also working today, so
ah,
I
the jo-
can't be there in person. But yeah, there's
the
lots
jo-
there's lots going on.
the joys of being a musician on their way up, as it
Yes,
were. Yeah,
multitasking, professional
can't
multitasker.
can't ditch the day job completely yet.
Yet.
Yet. There we are. We will be speaking to Lorna in a minute about her life in music. But first, this, because you know it's coming.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
As I say, thanks for joining me, Lorna.
Thanks for
I'm,
having
I'm
me.
going to ask you a question I've never asked anybody else.
Oh no.
There- it's nothing to be scared of. Prince Charming. Uh, now, the question is, what does a typical day look like for you?
A typical day as an artist who also works full time.
Mm.
Um, so I do my full time job 9 to 5. Um,
Is
I
it
get up.
is it a way to make a living?
Unfortunately, it's the only way to make a living right now for me.
Yeah.
But I get up at 5:30. I go to the gym, and then I come home, walk my dog, and then I log on, do my day job. In the evening time, I'm either recording content or I am taking time to connect with people on social media, other artists, um, other people that might like my music. They like similar music to me, reaching out to them and kind of just having a conversation. Um, or looking for festivals, looking for gigs, contacting promoters, chopping up my content that I'd previously recorded, making several reels from it.
Oh, yeah. It
All that kind of
sounds like
thing.
a typical day. Yes, it
Yes,
does. You get up early to go
yes.
to the gym, etc., which is great. Are you a morning person or are you an evening person? I mean, it sounds like you have to be both at the moment.
Yes, I am very much both. I don't like mornings. It's not my favorite thing. If you see me in the gym at 6 o'clock, don't talk to me. I'm not in the mood for a conversation right there and then. I go, I get it done, and I feel so much better. The endorphins are flowing from the start of the day then. So I'm a lot more productive if I go to the gym in the morning,
Yeah.
but it is a struggle. I'm
So
definitely a night owl.
so if you meet you in the gym in the morning, only come up and speak to you if A, you've bought you a drink,
Yes.
orange juice, obviously at that time in the
Yeah.
morning, or
Or tea.
something very hydrating if you're going
Yes.
to the gym. Yes. Or B, if you're offering you a record contract. That's the
Or
only two.
if you like my music, yeah, come up and have a chat with me. That would prompt a smile. If you've listened to a song and you go, "Hey, you're Lorna Dee. I listened to your latest track," I'll be like, "Hello."
Hello.
Something I can get on board with. But if it's generally how many reps have you done, don't talk to me.
Is that the kind of thing that people talk about in gyms then? I don't know because I never frequent them. Well, I say that. I go every Saturday to take my youngest one swimming. And I watch these people on the treadmills just running for ages. And I think, why don't you just go on the road and do that? I,
I can't run on a treadmill.
I just don't get it because it's
No.
like free to do it on the road. And
Yeah.
you have to pay to do it on the people
I
will
would much rather go running on the road. I feel like I'm going somewhere on a treadmill. I'm just not going anywhere.
You're on a road to nowhere.
Literally.
Exactly. It's exactly that, isn't it? I feel like David Byrne was thinking about a treadmill when he wrote that song.
Maybe he wrote it on a treadmill. I've written a couple of songs at the gym.
Have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I spend an hour on the bike, I will usually finish that hour with the bare bones of a song. So it's productive.
Do you have to take your phone or notebook or something in with you just in case that happens?
My phone and audio notes are like my best friend. I'm like, or I'm writing down notes of lyric ideas. Yeah, it's constant.
I love that. People coming up to you in the gym going, "Are you all right, love? What? You sound like you were breathing a bit funny there." No, I'm just doing my latest song into my phone.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Like, I think people ignore me because they're like, "Oh, she's doing that thing again."
You know what it is? They're all jealous. They're all trying to work out what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, probably. I should just start leaving, like, I just start wearing like a Lorna Dee t-shirt at the gym. Like, I am an artist. I'm recording songs right now. So if people see me doing that, then they know.
Do you know what? I so want to actually get someone to come and film you now at the gym, like, and have like a whole crew there, right? And a group of fans that we've brought in as well, right? Standing around and like just to film everybody else's reaction. It's like, don't worry, you can carry on.
Yeah.
Just carry on. They're just filming me because, you know, I'm Lorna Dee and, you know.
It's a creative process. We have to go through these things.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? That'd be great.
I don't think I'd be able to go back to that gym.
You don't know. The gym might give you free membership. It could happen. If you listen, which gym is it? Can we say?
It's Places Gym, so I'm sure they've got gyms around the UK.
All right. Listen, Places, if you're listening, give Lorna a free membership. All right. She'll come down one day and we'll do that. We'll film that as we just described, and you can use it in your social media.
Perfect.
With one of Lorna's songs. There you go. Yeah. Deal. Contra deal. Set up all and for you. You said just before we came on that you watched me talking to Bets, and you said you loved her attitude and what she was doing. Who else, peer wise, are you kind of following music wise? Who's kind of an inspiration to you, or you think, hey, they're a half decent person, aren't they?
There's loads of people that I get inspiration from. There's a girl called Omateo. She's fabulous. She does, she calls it medicine music, which is so beautiful. And the way she moves to that music as well is quite mesmerizing. In terms of like people of my style and genre, I really like Ellie Ingram. Obviously, people like Michael Kiwanuka is just next level. Miles Smith is doing fantastic things, representing the East Midlands, which is fabulous. So I think there's loads of people that I look up to on a grassroots kind of level. There's a lady called Nikki Newman who is based in Northampton, and she is an absolute powerhouse. Like, I could listen to that lady sing. Like, she's also a vocal coach, so she if she didn't have a good voice, you'd be like, but she is top class. She's up there, and not really very well known, but it's like, these people do exist. It's not just who you hear in the charts. So I actually went to a gig last night. I was performing in Leicester, and it was such an eclectic lineup. There was one person there doing kind of like really ethereal type music on a Kaliba, but he had like pedals and sound effect that it was plugged into, and that was just like mind blowing. And then there was me with my thing being like a bit soul R&B kind of style. And then there was a kind of punk reggae kind of band. And then there was a proper punk band to end. And it's like, I would never have seen them acts just going to a gig that was curated around my style of music. But it doesn't mean I don't like that kind of music. I had such a great time because everyone was so different, but everyone was so supportive of each other's art. And I think that's really important from a grassroots kind of level. The room was packed, but everyone came to see a different act, but they stayed. And that's really important, like to support. And that's where people learn their craft on stage. So, you know, I'm always on the lookout for emerging acts that I think, oh yeah, I can get behind them. And they sound great. Like what they're doing is amazing. So there's so many people.
I am actually seeing more and more gigs now where, you know, you go along and it's 3 or 4 acts for the evening and they are all completely different. And I like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's quite traditionally, it's always been sort of like, we better get people on that are in the same sort of, you know, ilk, because, you know, got to keep the fans happy. But I think listeners are so diverse in terms of what they listen to now because of, you know, exposure to music. And that's the one good thing about the dot in the corner of the room that emits the sound, is that people do listen to a very, you know, a more eclectic set of music. Although having said that, I still think that half the people that say they are eclectic listeners don't actually listen to as broad a thing as they say that they do.
No, probably not. I would class myself as someone who loves all types of genre of music, but I very much listen to the style of music that I like creating. And it's not through any other reason, like, other than that's just the type of music that I like. And
is there a type of music I could put in front of you where you go, no thanks?
I think really heavy metal.
Like,
yeah.
Sorry, folks, if you were driving at that point.
Yeah, that kind of music. Like, I do believe that every type of music has its place and has its audience, and it's just not for me. It's just not for me. But I would quite happily sit and, you know, go to a punk gig or, you know, like a reggae gig. My dad's a big UB40 fan, and last year we took him for his birthday to see Ali Campbell.
I can never keep up with. I can never keep up with the whole UB40 thing. There's like, you know, is it Ali in, Ali out, Ali shake it all about? I can't keep up with it. But
I think there's 2 different bands essentially now. So
basically, exactly. But you know, but what a great sort of, you know, back catalogue they have, and you know, great band in terms of great melodies. You know, that's the thing. Do you know what? I love the beginning of that whole era as well, though, and other bands like Aswad. Do you remember Aswad?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Don't turn around. But, you know, I do think people are listening to more stuff, and I do think that there's good stuff in every single genre that's out there. I think every band, musician, whatever, has the capability of once in their life writing a good pop tune. And that happens occasionally. I mean, it's like you say about heavy metal, but then, you know, once in a while, a heavy metal band write a great pop tune, and it's, you know, you could take that tune and you could do it you could do it in your style, and it would still be a great tune.
Yeah, it'll transcend them different genres. And I do think I think the art of a great song and writing a great song is that it could actually be lent to any genre.
Yep.
Like, I always go into the studio in the mindset of, can this be played stripped back as an acoustic only song? Like, it's bare bones. Could it be played as an acoustic song? and build it up from there, because actually some settings don't need a live band. Some settings don't need, like, you know, they just want that stripped back storytelling. And for me, writing a song is all about the story. My songs have to make sense. I can't just have a random verse or random chorus, or, you know, it has to make sense. It has to be a whole story within under 3 minutes.
Yeah, you would never have understood any of my songs that I wrote. I didn't understand the songs that I wrote. They were just, they were just a stream of consciousness which didn't relate to anything. They kind of made sense to me, and it was really interesting though, isn't it? When sometimes when you put stuff out and it's just like words, and then people come up to you and they go, "Oh, that's so meaningful," and you go, "Really?"
Yeah, there's songs that I've written and I'm like, it had a meaning, but that meaning doesn't really, it's not, by the time it's released, it doesn't actually mean that to me anymore. And someone's attached their own meaning to it. And I speak to them after a gig, and they're like, that song, I'm really glad you did that song because I heard it and it, you know, it really helped me through this period because I felt like I was going through the same thing. And I'm like, oh, because that wasn't what I was going through when I wrote it. But, you know, people do, I think that's the power of music. It connects with people on a deeper level. And sometimes, like you say, you will write a song and like the lyrics do just come to you. They just fall into your lap for some reason. And they're not necessarily, you generally might have a theme, but the words.
When you talk about falling into your lap, I mean, I literally wrote a song called Yellow Pages once.
Really?
and yeah. And for those of you who are too young to remember the Yellow Pages book, it was a phone book. It was, and across the country, but different areas had different versions of this book because they were localized. But they were massive. They were about this.
Really big.
There were lots of jokes back in the day about, oh yeah, give me a Yellow Pages, I'll prop the table up with it. And they were full of adverts and like people, you know, because back in the day you couldn't look up people's numbers on the interweb. You literally had to flick through these pages. And I had one of these things and I sat there and I was flicking through and I thought, I'll write a song about this.
Yeah,
because there's
that's great.
All this stuff going on in here, and it's all related because it's all in a book, but there's completely no correlation between, you know, Aunt Betty's bakery supplies and, you know, window cleaners are us. You know, it just didn't.
No correlation, but there is a theme. It's a bizarre theme, but it's a theme.
I said mine were pretty weird. You know, we wrote back in the day. We did write some songs that actually were love songs or actually, you know, heartfelt little stories. But I quite liked, you know, something a little bit abstract.
Yeah.
But you don't write like that, do you? You tell stories.
Yes. My songs, to me, they have to make sense and they have to have a meaning behind them. I write a lot from personal experience or from, you know, what conversations that I have with people. And not in the gym, but a lot of the time if I have headphones in, I'm generally not listening to anything. I'm listening to conversations around me. And that is a wealth of inspiration. If you're in a coffee
shop. Do you feel like your songs are conversations with the world?
Yeah. It's an inner monologue, I think. Sometimes.
As opposed to Austin Powers, an external monologue. We never need that. We never need that. It's important. Do you when you put them out there, when you perform them, do you feel like you've started a conversation with the audience and that you hope that conversation then spreads?
Yeah. Like, I think the most recent song that I've just released, I'm just come off the back of 2 release gigs, one in Birmingham, one in Leicester. So that was Wednesday and Thursday night. And I performed for the first time my brand new single. It's called Would You Stay? And it's probably one of the most vulnerable songs that I've written, because it's about wanting to be loved, but being scared to show them ugly parts. And will that person still stick around if they see them ugly parts? And you really want them to, but you just don't know until you take that chance. And when I'm performing, I like to introduce the songs as like, this is what I was going through when I wrote it. However, I'm very mindful that people will attach their own meaning to it if they don't come to a gig and they don't hear my story behind it. So I think when I do perform it live, it's quite a special moment to share that live version with an audience, especially in the settings that I've done recently, because they were such warm, receptive audiences, and they were very engaged and wanting to pay attention to the art that they were hearing. So I do feel like it starts a conversation, and people do come up to you afterwards, and they almost feel like they know you a bit more, because you've kind of bared your soul a little bit. Like, this is a real life experience that I've been through, and I've put it into this song. And then people do feel like they know a bit more about you than if they just saw you or heard you on the radio. Like, coming to a live performance, there's just nothing quite like it, engaging with the audience and getting that real-time feedback on a new song, because you might think it's the best thing you've ever created, but you could perform it and it could fall completely flat with a live audience. So it is really important to get out there and kind of start them conversations with people.
Yeah.
And I do see my music as a way of people getting to know me better, because of the authentic place that my songs come from.
And I think it's a good time for that as well at the moment. I think we're just kind of moving out of a period where there's been quite a lot of saccharine pop music, and people are beginning to open up more into, being more receptive to singer-songwriters that wear their heart on their sleeve. I mean, look at a song like Messy.
Yes.
And you can see when Lola's like been around performing that lately, and she's been quite emotional. I don't think that's her just sort of playing for the cameras and being emotive.
No.
I think she's genuinely overwhelmed by the response.
Yeah.
Because it is so personal.
Yes. And you see that in singers like Ray as well, when she performed her 21st Century Blues album and went on tour with that. Like, some of the songs in that you could tell was so personal, and she's like tearing up on stage. And even with like Adele in her residency in Vegas, like, that storytelling, it comes from a real raw place. It comes from an authentic place. And I think sometimes you've got to be quite a strong person to also put that out into the world, because we all know that people go through heartache and people have struggles in their life, but you very rarely, in this kind of curated social media world, you very rarely see people's struggles these days. You always see the people's highlight reel, like the best of their, this is the best thing that's happened to me this week. And, it always looks like people are doing really well, but people don't always showcase the struggles that they're going through, which that's where it comes out for me. It's in my music.
Or they showcase a struggle, but it's orchestrated.
Yes.
And that's hard. That to me is even harder than people sort of, keep being guarded about the bad stuff, in a way, is when people are making up the bad stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I find that's the more difficult thing for anybody to negotiate these days on social media.
But you can tell when it's not genuine as well, I think, sometimes.
The key is, and listen to your Uncle Graham, folks, the key is, if you're going to work out whether it's genuine or not, is you need to be consistent with actually following what that person's saying for a while, right?
Yeah.
Because the people that aren't consistent with what they're saying, that shows, but it only shows over a period of time. I think the danger is that what people do with a lot of things these days, a bit like music, is they just drop into it and then drop back out of it, and so they only see a snapshot and they go, that poor soul, you know. But it's the same with music, you know. If you follow an artist, follow that artist. Don't just listen to the one track. Don't just listen to 30 seconds of it, for goodness sake. Listen to the whole thing, and then when they put out an EP, listen to the whole EP, and then when they put out an album, listen to the whole album. You know, and stick with them over the journey, and then you get to hear the true them. You know,
I mean, more frequently now, if I discover an artist that's kind of on the rise, or like someone at my level, I'm like, if I really like their music that they're putting out currently, I'll delve into their back catalogue and I'll be like, oh, this is I really like this one. And then, like, actually, you get attached to that, their success. You're like, oh God, I'm really rooting for them now, because I can see the progress that they're making, and you think it's really important. Like you say, I think as well, Spotify have made a big change in terms of albums. When people put albums out, you can't skip or shuffle. Like, it is like you listen to the body of work, because that's how it was. Albums aren't just thrown together. They'll have a common theme running through them, and they're intended to be listened to in that order that they've been put on, the album. So I think some albums now, if you want to, when you upload it, you can tick with Spotify that you don't want, it to be on shuffle. You want it to be listened to in the order that it was intended to, because it follows a story in it, and it's a body of work, not just one song.
Absolutely. And you want people to take that time as well to actually go through the process. That's really, really important. You mentioned Michael Kiwanuka earlier. I felt sorry for Michael Kiwanuka, I mean, he's had a lot of success. But didn't he get his Mercury Prize right in the middle of COVID? I think he did. I think, unlike everybody else that had like the big ceremony and everything else, I think he was presented it by Jules Holland, if I remember rightly, on a TV show where it was like, well, there you go. At a distance. But there you go.
He's fantastic. I've followed his music for such a long time, and he just seems to be in his element now, vibing on and creating the music that really makes him happy.
Yeah, and he looks great for his age, because he must have been born about sort of 1964 or something like that, given the music that the
voice,
sound that he makes.
Yeah,
he looks great for his age. I mean, he really does.
Timeless. He's timeless.
He is absolutely timeless. He does transport you back whilst keeping you here at the same time. And music's great when it does that.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think Amy Winehouse captured that essence really well as well, like in the work that she did, and that her music just transported you back to a different time.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Because we all have rose-tinted glasses to a certain extent, and I think when music allows us to go back slightly, or actually inhabit a time where we'd never have been in that time. It's a bit like a time capsule, which is rather good as well. So what are you working on right now, other than you're about to release new music, but what are you working on right now?
What am I working on? I have been in the studio this week, working on a new song. It's actually about one of my closest friends, and it's called My Point of View, and it is basically a thank you for sticking with me and you know, no one understands me like she does. Like, you know, she's been with me through thick and thin. We're at that point where we don't need to communicate with words. Like, she can just tell on my face what I'm thinking, and vice versa. And, you know, if I'm having a bad day, she'll check in. Like, she knows before I even have to tell her. So in the chorus is like, says, you know, no one knows me like you do. People don't get my point of view. There's just no one quite like you. Like, and that is, you know, it's about that friendship. We've been so close since we were teenagers, and we've grown up together, really. And
that
it's
is
not the
such
first time I've written about it.
lovely story. Was she the first person to hear the song when you wrote
Yes. Yeah, I sent her a little video of it whilst I was recording it in the studio this week. So I think she was a little bit overwhelmed, to be honest. She went, "Oh my God, I can't believe that." So yeah, I'm not big on talking about my feelings a lot of the time to people. So it all goes into my music. Hence, you know, my partner's got many songs written about him. But I'm not the lovey-dovey hearts and flowers kind of person. I don't really tell people. I put it into my music, and then they can interpret it from that.
Good job my wife doesn't write songs, because it would all be like, "Have you done the washing up yet?
Did you put the bins out?
Could you empty the dishwasher?
Yeah.
You're picking the kids up again after school. Don't forget."
Don't forget. That would be a key song. Don't forget. Like, that's the chorus.
I think we all need that song. I think we all do. I can never work out why we forget stuff. I think we just live such busy lives these days that it's really, you have to kind of stay really focused and in the moment on whatever task you're doing. And then, for me, that was a great little ping, by the way. I don't know where that came from. I think it came from Lorna's computer, but what a brilliantly timed thing, because for me, if that little ping doesn't come up when you set your calendar or whatever, with the calendar reminder that it's happening, it's not happening.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Because I'm focused, I'm in the zone with this thing, and then that thing needs to hit me in the face like a wet kipper to go, "Oh, yeah, I need to be sorry, I need to go now because I've got to be doing that." And when the technology lets you down, it's like, you know.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm exactly the same. Sometimes I walk into a room and I've got that much going on in my brain, like, you know, working full time, doing music. Should I be at a gig? Should I be doing content? Can I relax? Am I allowed to relax? Should I be showing up online, connecting with people? And I'll walk into a room and I'll be like, I don't know what I've come in here for.
That's a great title for a song. That's a great title for a song. In fact, that's a great title for an album. I don't know what I've come in here for.
Yeah.
Just,
what am I doing here?
What am I doing here? No, I don't know what I've come in here for, because it's just so open, isn't it? It's like, wow. If Lorna doesn't record an album with that title, and you're listening and you want to nick it first,
no, it's mine.
we've just got IP on it. There we go. You've been a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming in. You see how time just flies?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
It's an absolute pleasure. Before you go, my favourite question at the moment, which I keep asking people, but how can people out there help you?
I think there's a few options that are completely free. And that is, you know, follow people on social media, but also share, comment, and like their stuff. It's really important. It boosts the algorithm. It boosts engagement. It shows people that there's a bit of a buzz around an artist, and that's completely free. People can do that with not much effort.
Do you know what? It always amazes me, actually. I mean, I run a social media marketing business, so it would probably amaze me, because, you know, other people just don't know how to do social media. But it amazes me that if you want to help an artist out, right, if they're posting stuff left, right and centre all day long, all you've got to do is pick up one of their stories and share it as yours.
Yeah.
all you've got to do.
Yeah.
And if you've never done that before, folks, there's a little button when for not every story will let you do this, because it depends on the rights that the person does. But if they've allowed you to share their story, while you're looking at the story, you'll get a button at the bottom that says add to your story. Add it to your story and put your own little thought on it, like, wow, Lorna Dee's voice is amazing.
Yeah, and you can use that specific caption as well, because that'd be great. No, I think
specific caption.
Yeah, you know? and you know what? That's the free things that people can do, but also, you know, come to gigs, come to live gigs. A lot of gigs are free. You know, go out and support unknown artists or artists on the rise, because there's some absolute gems around. Like, even just last night, listening to the talent that was in the room, I was gobsmacked that was free.
Gigs, I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. There's so many people out there that are gigging, whose like gigs are either free, or they're a tenner, or they're 20 quid for the, you know, for a really great night. And a lot of those are even signed artists at a reasonable level, right? So, you know, whilst it's great to spend your 500 quid and go and see somebody at Wembley Stadium, and by the time you've booked the hotel and everything else and whatever as well, you've probably spent £1,000. Just think about this. You could actually go out every single week for far less money than that and go and see 3 or 4 bands a week. Just saying, you know?
Yeah.
And the beauty of that is that you might be able to say in the future, do you know what? I went to one of their first gigs when it's them at Wembley Stadium. So, you know, put that in your pipe and smoke it, or don't, because smoking is bad for your kids, and you know you shouldn't do that sort of thing.
No, and I hear you. That's so important, because I even was having a conversation with someone just the other day, and they're so proud to have been at a gig that they knew that person before they became big, and they're like, I'm going to see this person, but I knew them before they were famous, before they blew up. And people love to have that. People love to be the people that found that person first.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You know, go support local music and unknown artists, because it is really important.
It really is. This has been a wonderful Lorna Dee. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to me today. Thank you for taking your time.
Thanks for having me.
This is Lorna. If you like what you've heard so far, go and check out the music, and then when you do, go and add it to a playlist. Please do that. It's so important. Also, just before we go, as I'm telling everybody now, we have a community. I'll be inviting Lorna to come and join it. So she will be there, hopefully. And there's lots of other musicians that are in there as well. But you can come and help everybody as a supporter. It literally is £1 a month, or it's £10 for the year, right? But we are trying to build a community of fans who like their band that they like and their artists that they like, but then discover other artists within there as well. And you know, I'm trying to help all of the artists that are in there build their own communities within there and get some money out of it as well. And that's really important. So if you can do anything to help, please do. Or you could just go and waste that on a couple of pints down the local pub, and you know, and you'd forget about that by the morning. But this is much, much better. Okay. Until next time, if you've enjoyed this, please do go and share it with your friends and family. But this has been my music. Do have a great life, folks. Bye for now.